political military. Secretary, wouldn't you say that in the last administration under Joe Biden, Secretary Austin, Mark Milley, we've never seen the military politicized in a way that it was over those 4 years?
Senator, I would say our mission has been to take the politics out of the military, take the ideology out of the military. And as a result, you've seen the response of young Americans who have, I called it a bump at first. I just want to correct that, Senator. It's been a tsunami. It's been a historic response of young Americans.
I want to unpack it. I want to unpack this with you, Mr. Secretary. Prior to President Trump's election, the military was struggling with the worst recruitment crisis in 50 years. That all seemed to have changed overnight on one specific day. And the chart shows it. The Army doubled its recruitment from November of 2024 to the previous November. The Navy, the same thing. The Navy's recruitment skyrocketed 80% from November of 2024 to the previous year. Mr. Secretary, what changed?
There was an election, Senator.
Why does that matter?
Because leadership matters, sir. Belief in your country matters. Having the back of your troops matters. Setting a clear mission matters. Ensuring that if troops are used, it's for a clear, defined mission. It's funding them properly. It's giving them the proper authorities to execute. Americans watch what happens with their political and military leadership. And in President Trump, they understand they have a commander-in-chief that has their back, that loves the country, that loves them. Our job has been to reflect that through the department by getting rid of all the distractions, by enforcing the basics, by getting back to standards and readiness. And as a result, we've seen a generation of young people stand up and say they want to serve under President Trump.
These numbers have steadily increase. As you said, you called it a tsunami. I mean, I call it the Trump bump because it did begin on one day, but every month since we've seen those recruitments for the Army and the Navy, especially the best Navy recruitment in 20 years, the best Army recruitment in 15 years. How do we keep that up?
Well, sir, I think we keep that up by staying true to what we said we would do to those young Americans and their families. I wrote a book before I started this process, talking to a lot of vets and their families who are wondering whether they would recommend military service to the next generation. I hear from them and others who say, now we're willing to do that under this president's leadership. Staying true to who we are, staying true to the basics, the Constitution, their core mission, keeping them ready, funding them and supplying them properly, and then having their back, truly. Matters. And I think by doing that and then emphasizing recruiting and the basics, I think we'll continue to be able to be on the right trajectory.
Mr. Secretary, I've never seen a Secretary of Defense that's so in tune with our soldiers, our sailors, our airmen and Marines as you. You've gone out and you're visiting with them, you're talking to them every single day. What kind of stories are you hearing, especially from our newest recruits? I mean, what are they telling you? What are they telling you specifically about why it matters?
Well, I'll start with those that are re-enlisting or they've been in for a while who say it's all changed. The entire environment's changed. The morale, the spirit. They feel the change. They feel the idea that if I'm given a job to do, I'll be given everything necessary to do it, the authorities to do it. I'm not being micromanaged. I know that my commander will have my back. And then the young people, it's just excitement about the possibility of serving under President Trump, of being a part of something greater than themselves, and knowing that that in the White House they've got a commander who will defend their interests.
It's really about the, as I said, I mean, as my colleague was talking about, an apolitical military. I mean, the wokeness, the radical transgender movement, the way the abortion travel mandates, the way the last administration politicized the military. There was a survey in 2023 that pointed this out. It said that, and the Army released the survey in 2023 that claimed that young Americans' fear of discrimination drove away more recruits than wokeness. And wokeness was a big indicator, too, in that survey. Do you think those arguments still stand up today?
Senator, you make a great point. Every American wants to be treated like an individual, not because they're black or white or male or female, rich or poor, or because of some calculation of what we need more of or need less of. but simply, can you rise to the challenge of this job of service to your nation? That challenge inspires young people, and that's what we've seen.
I think the Commander-in-Chief matters. Mr. Secretary, you matter. General, you matter. Thank you for your leadership. The facts speak for themselves. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Thank you, Senator Banks. Is there objection to putting a representation of the chart in the record at this point? Without objection, it'll be ordered.
Mr. May I ask a question, Mr. Chairman?
Senator Reed.
I note that the chart starts in November 23 and goes to November 24, and President Biden was president through the entire period. So you're suggesting that the significant ramp-up took place immediately after the election day, which would have been 20 days of November 24?
That's exactly what I'm suggesting, Senator.
Do you have
The
any-
numbers speak for themselves.
Do you have any data to suggest that?
The General of the Army told me so, and I'm happy to, if you ask for those numbers from the Army, you'll see the same dynamic that I have. The election of Donald Trump serving as the election of him and the indication to those recruits around the country that he's going to become the commander-in-chief actually mattered. And those numbers have risen
So
dramatically ever since Election Day.
There was no impact of the administration's activities over several years before that, and also through the period of November 23, which was encompassed the Biden administration. It's funny you get a Trump bump while Biden is president of the United States. So I'd be curious to see that data.
I think it's
Thank you.
incredible as well, sir.
Unbelievable might be a better word.